The story of Mohamed Salah and Liverpool seems to have entered one of those chapters that blend gratitude, uncertainty, and inevitability. A journey that began as a gamble and evolved into one of the most legendary partnerships of the modern era might, at last, be approaching its conclusion. The conversations behind the scenes at Anfield in 2025 are no longer about what Salah can still achieve, but rather when and how he will say goodbye. And intriguingly, this debate is not only about football, but also about time, legacy, and strategy. Since his arrival in 2017, when Liverpool paid around £36.9 million to Roma, Salah has gone from being merely a pacey forward to becoming a global icon. Few could have predicted that the Egyptian, who had previously had an unremarkable spell at Chelsea, would transform Liverpool into a symbol of intensity and ambition. What followed was almost cinematic. Goal after goal, historic titles, packed stadiums in euphoria, and a legion of fans who learned to associate the number 11 with hope and glory. But time, ruthless and silent, spares not even legends. Now, at 33 years of age and in his 9th season on Merseyside, Salah remains the third highest scorer in the club's history, a colossal achievement. Yet behind the numbers and the applause, a growing unease has begun to surface. In 2024, he enjoyed an astonishing season, 57 goal involvements between goals and assists. It was the peak of a mature superstar, one seemingly immune to physical decline. So much so that Liverpool did the unthinkable. They renewed his contract and offered him the most lucrative deal in the club's history, £400,000 per week. But football has its own cycles, and they often shift without warning. Only a few months after signing that monumental contract, Salah began to show something rarely seen in his career: inconsistency. His performances suddenly became less lethal. His finishing lost sharpness, his assists became rarer, and his influence in matches started to wane. It's not that the star disappeared, but his superhuman consistency appeared to give way to occasional flashes. Behind this picture lie natural factors: age, the toll of nearly a decade playing at relentless intensity, and even the psychological weight of carrying a team on his shoulders for so long. Some analysts call this the invisible collapse, the moment when the body still looks perfect, but reaction time, decision-making, and stamina no longer match instinct. And that, precisely, is what has raised concerns within Liverpool's hierarchy. According to behind-the-scenes reports, Salah's departure in 2026, a year before his contract officially expires, has become a realistic scenario. It's not a matter of rupture or ingratitude, but of planning. The Liverpool of today, under Arne operates with a different philosophy. The club seeks to avoid sentimental decisions that could become financial burdens once performance dips. Slot, pragmatic and direct, has already made it clear that his priority is to keep the team competitive, energetic, and fast, hallmarks of his managerial style.
While part of the fan base still clings to the romantic idea of seeing Salah retire at Anfield, the transfer market whispers tell another story. Sources close to the club suggest that Saudi Arabian interest remains alive, with a potential 9-figure offer in the region of £100 million expected in the next window. A staggering amount for a player who will turn 34 next summer and who, while still brilliant, is no longer the unstoppable force he was in 2018 or 2020. But what truly weighs in this equation goes beyond money. Liverpool understand that every era must renew itself, and selling Salah now could open the door for a new star, someone younger, more explosive, capable of carrying on the club's attacking tradition. Moreover, selling an aging player for such a sum would represent an almost unprecedented financial coup, something FSG, the club's owners, would view as the perfect balance between gratitude and pragmatism. Even so, the debate divides opinion. Rio Ferdinand, former Manchester United defender and legend, expressed his disbelief at some Liverpool fans already calling for Salah's exit. On one of his shows, he vented, "People are mad. The guy gave you 8 years of excellence. He broke records, won trophies, gave his soul to the team. And now, because he's had a few quiet months, you want him gone? That's disrespectful." Indeed, the dilemma runs deep. Salah isn't just a player. He's the man who redefined modern Liverpool. He shattered paradigms, stepped out from Gerrard's shadow, and raised the standard for what it means to be a hero at Anfield. His departure, therefore, would not merely be a transaction, it would mark the end of an era. And perhaps for that reason, the board are handling the matter with extreme care. No drama, no sudden moves, but with quiet firmness. Internally, Arne Slot knows he must manage this transition with surgical precision. The Dutch manager, who retains the board's trust, despite recent fluctuations, is already working on building the Liverpool of tomorrow. Sources close to the club insist he wants to resolve all major contracts and delicate situations by the end of the season. And Salah's is one of them, perhaps the main one. Meanwhile, the transfer market is buzzing. Liverpool scouts are reportedly monitoring young talents, particularly in Italy and Turkey, including Juventus prospect Kenan Yildiz. There's a silent succession plan in motion should the sale go ahead. It wouldn't be abrupt, the transition would be gradual, planned, and with Slot's full involvement. Salah, for his part, maintains the professionalism that has always defined him. He avoids controversy, trains with the same dedication, and insists he still has a lot to give. Yet privately, it's a different story. Those close to him say the forward knows his time is running out, and though he won't admit it publicly, he is already considering one final adventure before retirement. The Arab world appeals to him, not just for the financial rewards, but for the opportunity to represent the Muslim world in an ever-growing football project. Before any decision is made, however, there's still a full season ahead, and that's where the drama becomes irresistible. Can Salah once again defy the laws of time, or is this truly the beginning of his final act at Anfield? The question hangs in the air, and with each match, there's a sense that fans are witnessing the last chapters of a golden age.
The numbers speak for themselves. 250 goals in 416 games, dozens of records, and an extraordinary goal involvement ratio. Yet, since April, when the new contract was signed, his impact has dropped to levels even Salah has never experienced before. If the trend continues, he could end the season with his lowest goal tally since joining the club. A sobering contrast for a player long synonymous with efficiency. And that's why, in the corridors of Anfield, there's a quiet sense that something monumental is on the horizon. Perhaps not tomorrow, perhaps not in January, but inevitably. Liverpool appear to be calmly, almost silently, preparing the ground so that the farewell won't come as a shock, but as a natural transition. Some see echoes of the same pattern that accompanied other club legends. Gerrard's departure, Firmino's farewell, the post-Mane transition. None of those moments were easy, but each marked a new beginning. And in many ways, that's what Arne Slot is now striving for, to preserve Liverpool's winning soul, while updating its body. Ultimately, Salah's fate transcends sport. It's emotional. It's a choice between heart and reason, between gratitude and the future. And in the meantime, the fans watch in silence, torn between the desire to immortalize their idol and the fear of seeing him leave. Whatever happens, one thing is certain. When Mohamed Salah eventually leaves Anfield, whether in 2026 or sooner, the stadium will rise to its feet. Not just for the goals, the trophies, or the triumphs, but for everything he has represented. A man who arrived doubted, reinvented himself, conquered the world, and over nearly a decade made Liverpool feel like giants once again. And if this truly is the final chapter, let it be written with the greatness he deserves. Because in the end, even if the contract expires and a new star rises, Mohamed Salah's name is already etched in stone in Liverpool's history, and nothing, absolutely nothing, will ever erase it.